Hi everybody, meteorologist David Paul with meteorologist Tim Pandages. We wanted to step in and go over what really is a very interesting, complicated, a little unusual setup that might be able to produce a tropical system in the Gulf that could impact us as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday of next week.
Right, a lot of moving parts with this one. First, it all starts with a cold front, which is rare for this time of the year, David, but this is also going to be super helpful for us getting some much needed rainfall into the region and breaking this hot, dry pattern we've been in for like 6 weeks.
Problem is, this front and these frontal boundaries, they're actually elongated areas of low pressure. And as they move in and if they move over the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, they can sometimes encourage low pressure development, maybe tropical development. Now this is Monday. And we're just talking about rain. But Tim, Tuesday, something interesting happens on our computer models.
Right, so that front is elongated. It's also decaying as it pushes farther to the south into the very warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. That also starts to initiate some spin in the atmosphere, and you can see David highlighted that there. We're looking at the GFS model in this particular rendition of what may happen next week. A large area of low pressure looks to develop, according to this model, and become tropical in nature potentially.
And this is a result of a couple of very interesting ingredients. And we'll start with what's going on, not at the surface, this is the surface wind streams, but what's going on up at the mid-level. So this is at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet, and between Monday and Tuesday of next week, at 18,000 feet, we get a very well-defined area of mid-level low pressure. So why is that important? This can work its way down to the surface and become a tropical system. How would it do that? Well, it's similar to if you have a cup of coffee in the morning and you take your stir stick. Don't stick it all the way down into the cup of coffee. Just put it just on the surface, just at the top of the cup of the coffee. And you can do this at home and start stirring around the edge slowly. And at first, nothing happens. But if you keep stirring and you keep stirring, eventually a swirl, a vortex will form in your cup of coffee.
Right.
And if you keep doing it, you'll notice it starts to deepen a little bit in the middle as that little funnel gets more focused. And that's what these mid-level lows can do if other ingredients are there, and they are.
And that's really the biggest ingredient here is how warm the sea surface temperatures are. The Gulf of Mexico is, for lack of a better word, rocket fuel right now. So if we were to have some sort of seed planted in this very fertile ground, it would grow quickly and organize fast. And that's the potential that we're seeing here. I mean, we've got water temperatures. You need for tropical development 80 degrees or warmer, 90s closer to the coast. So about 5-6 degrees above where we should be. Look at this, right along the Gulf Coast there. 88, 90, 87, so well above where we should be.
I was swimming in the Gulf of Mexico in Galveston last week and on vacation. It is like bath water. It really is, which is just full of energy. So we've got that surface front, we've got that mid-level circulation, we have the fuel for these storms. Now, we've seen this setup before, but usually it comes much later in the season. Umberto, the fastest developing tropical system on record, developed one evening right here, just kind of out of nowhere, but it was on the tail of an old front, and then very quickly went from tropical depression to Cat 1 hurricane and made landfall across the Bolivar Peninsula early in the morning the next morning. That one really surprised us in 07. There was another system that developed on a front, which was Hurricane Alicia in 83. That one developed here. It was a little tropical depression. It was nothing. It was just nothing. And then right about here, it started to crank because it encountered warm water like that and became a Cat 3 and made landfall. That was August of 1983. Scared the dickens out of me. I was 17, but it was a big lesson in how quickly, with those ingredients, this can happen.
And there's something that I really want to draw to what you said. They happen later in the season, right? And that's a big deal for two reasons. We have two anomalies that are going to potentially be unfolding next week. Is the very warm sea surface temperatures that are already at August levels, late season levels, running about 5 degrees above normal. Also, the front itself is anomalous. We don't usually see those push all the way to the coastline this time of the year. That's usually later in the season with the transition of seasons happening.
Like usually we're transitioning into fall when this starts to happen. This is unusual to be doing it transitioning into summer. And so the result of all of this, back to the map, there's our decaying front. This would be our surface map with our surface low forming here off the upper Texas coast going into Tuesday morning. And then by Tuesday evening, 9:30, it's cut off. It's a forming low pressure. This could be a tropical depression, not out of the question, by Tuesday evening. And then it just would remain to be seen if this is, first of all, going to develop at all.
Right.
And then if it does, what the intensity would be, extremely difficult to even forecast. So we're kind of not going to go there yet. But we're here just to make sure that you have all the information on what's going on out here. You may be seeing some social media posts and whatnot about this. You know, right now, as we record this here on this Friday afternoon, there's nothing out there. But the ingredients are all there that could produce this, and what we don't want is for anybody to get caught off guard. So what should you be doing? Make sure you stay close to the forecast as we head through the weekend. And this would be the biggest result, I think, if something does form, is the rainfall.
And it would be drought busting for sure. Yesterday we were showing rainfall totals that were half this amount. That was before the models were really locking on to the potential of this tropical piece of energy working with it. So this would be, you know, several inches of rain. And most of these areas, David, are experiencing extreme drought conditions. So that could wipe it right out.
Oh yeah, we're looking at, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7 inch rain totals in there. That would not just put a dent, but end the drought in some places, and it could cause some flash flooding. That's not out of the question with these tropical systems, even the weak ones, notorious for putting down very heavy rain. And we were talking about this in the Weather Center a week ago, about how when we get these droughts, almost always the way they end is with a tropical system.
Right.
Had no idea we'd actually have the potential for one. And right now I do want to stress, this is just the potential. And this video is just so that you are armed with information, you know what's going on, so that you don't get caught off guard. So we're tracking possible impacts Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, possible. Forecast is not set in stone. This is evolving and very, you know, this is a very
fluid situation.
Fluid, it's esoteric, it's gentle. This is going to be a real. I'm very curious to see how this actually ends up playing out.
And something we should also bring to our viewers' attention is that, you know, this may very well be a scenario where we get to Monday, it's just rain showers out there, and then we watch and see a cluster of thunderstorms out in the Gulf, and very quickly it can go from that to developing into a tropical system. So it would be something that would occur and kind of unravel quickly. So that's why you need to just pay attention to the forecast now, and if there's any changes, you can plan accordingly for that.
Just stay close to us, and we'll continue to be your trusted source for information as and if this system does develop.